Ever wonder what lurks under your bed when the lights go out? The unknown, the unseen, the unimaginable. The very thought sends shivers down your spine. It's a primal fear, one that has haunted humanity for generations. The fear of the dark, of what might be hiding just out of sight. It's a fear that can grip you, hold you in its icy embrace and refuse to let go. Lena found out, and it wasn't just shadows. It was something far more sinister, something that defied explanation. She had always been a brave girl, never one to shy away from the dark. But this night was different. This night, the darkness seemed to have a life of its own. Her room was silent, her nightlight flickering, casting eerie shadows. Each flicker seemed to whisper secrets of the dark. The silence was thick, almost tangible, wrapping around her like a suffocating blanket. She could hear her own heartbeat, loud and insistent, a constant reminder of her growing fear. Shadows danced, but it wasn't them she feared. It was the presence she felt, a presence that seemed to watch her every move. It was as if the darkness itself had eyes, eyes that followed her, scrutinized her, judged her. She felt exposed, vulnerable, like a mouse under the gaze of a hawk. It was what lay beneath her bed, the darkness that seemed to breathe, a darkness that felt alive. She had always thought of her bed as a safe haven, a place of comfort and security. But now it felt like a trap, a gateway to something malevolent and terrifying. Her heart raced as she stared into the void, her breath quickening. The silence was deafening, broken only by her own heartbeat. She wanted to scream, to call for help, but her voice seemed to be trapped in her throat. She was alone, utterly alone, with only the darkness for company. A rustle, a scratch, the sound of something moving, each sound amplified in the stillness of the night. It was as if the darkness was alive, filled with unseen creatures that moved and whispered. She could feel their presence, their malevolent intent, and it filled her with a dread unlike anything she'd ever known. A growl, low and guttural, echoing in the silence. It sent chills down her spine. It was a sound that spoke of hunger, of a primal need to consume and destroy. She could feel the growl reverberate through her bones, shaking her to her very core. Eyes, glowing and menacing, appeared from the darkness. They seemed to pierce through her soul. They were not the eyes of any creature she had ever seen. They were filled with a malevolent intelligence, a cruel and calculating mind that took pleasure in her fear. A skeletal arm reached out. Lena was paralyzed, unable to move. Fear gripped her like a vice. The hand was cold, its touch like ice against her skin. It was a touch that spoke of death, of decay, of things long forgotten and buried. Her scream caught in her throat, her eyes wide with terror. She felt utterly helpless. It was a feeling she had never experienced before, a complete and utter loss of control. She was at the mercy of the darkness, and it showed no mercy. The hand grabbed her ankle, its grip cold and unyielding. It felt like ice against her skin. She tried to pull away, to free herself, but the grip was too strong. It was as if the darkness itself was holding her, refusing to let her go. Pulling her into darkness, into the unknown. She struggled, but it was futile. The darkness was relentless, pulling her deeper and deeper into its embrace. She could feel herself slipping away, her consciousness fading as the darkness consumed her. In the morning she was gone, her bed empty, her presence erased. It was as if she had never existed. The room was silent, the only evidence of her existence, the rumpled sheets on her bed. It was a silence that spoke of loss, of a life snuffed out too soon. Only faint scratches left behind, a silent testimony to the horror. They told a story of a struggle, A story of a girl who fought against the darkness but ultimately lost him. The scratches were a reminder, a warning of the dangers that lurk in the shadows. Sometimes late at night, when the world is quiet, you can almost feel her presence. It's a feeling that sends chills down your spine, a reminder of the horrors that lie just out of sight. You can feel her fear, her desperation, as if she is still there, trapped in the darkness. You can still hear a growl, a reminder of what lies beneath, a sound that haunts the silence. It's a sound that speaks of hunger, of a primal need to consume and destroy. It's a sound that will stay with you long after the night has passed. From under the bed. A place where nightmares are born. A place where the darkness is alive, filled with unseen creatures that move and whisper. It's a place that will haunt your dreams, a place that you will never forget. Midnight strikes, and the terror begins anew. The cycle of fear, unending. It's a cycle that will continue, night after night, as long as the darkness exists. It's a cycle that will haunt you, a reminder of the horrors that lie just out of sight.